Man, sounded like you were getting ready to do some beatboxing there.
There we go.
So
Can you hear me?
oh yeah, just before coming on, I was sitting here looking down at my phone. I had this microphone in my face, and I'm like smelling my microphone. I'm like, golly, I must be eating this mic every time I talk. It's like, time to wash the dust cover.
That's funny.
I wanted to get on here before we start the actual show and welcome everybody to Undaunted Pursuit podcast. Glad to have you guys here.
Glad to
Go
have
ahead,
y'all
say
back.
hi, Marshall.
How's
Marshall's
it
here.
going?
He finally made it this week.
I finally made it.
He
Finally got
missed
some time.
last week. Yeah, 2 authors and musicians, and well, we'll get into that later. But we're going to have a special guest. He's coming, and so anyway, yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited about all these guests we've had on here lately. They're really cool. And Marshall, I'll give you a chance to listen to this the podcast we did last week with Strawn. It was actually really cool. That book is amazing. So you need to get on there and read it. So it is called Beholding. And for those of you that didn't get a chance to listen to that episode, go back and listen to it. But yeah, we're gonna get into it, and when we get back from this break, hopefully our guest Michael will be here, and we'll introduce him, and then we'll go from there. So we'll see you guys on the other side of this when we get back.
Fearless.
Chase.
Bold.
Following.
Courageous.
Search. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Marshall.
And this is
Undaunted
Pursuit.
Hey.
Hey, it looks like I'm looking at you from underneath a door like you're in the bathroom or something.
Oh, yeah. I had to take care of something real quick. I've not used Zencaster before. Actually, it's a separate camera, so it's like I'm trying to get the other camera up. Wow. Look at all this call settings. Maybe it's in that. No.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, it's the video. I wanted a little better quality video here.
Yeah, leave it to him. He's the tech guru.
We're far from that.
Yeah, well, I mean, while I'm working on that, we just say, hey, what is up, guys?
What's up? Long time. Oh my! He disappeared.
Yeah,
he just got raptured.
It's the rapture.
Oh my goodness!
I'm not.
Hey, I shouldn't be. Oh, okay. There
I'm
you
not
go.
likely to.
You're going for the.
I'm not likely to go first.
Yeah. He's going for the Pharrell Williams look here.
Hey, I gotta have a. I don't know if you guys are dealing with any of this hair loss yet, but it's no fun.
I was just about to say you're looking awfully old since the last time I saw you in high school.
Well, you'll never catch up, and you'll die trying. Right. You guys both got a lot older. You're supposed to be young and fresh faced.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to have a beard nowadays. If you can, do it,
That's right.
Yeah, I see this little gear that says call setting, but I can't click on anything. It's not letting me open it.
It's all good.
Oh, I got a little. That's video on and off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little late. Is it Marshall? Are you in Texas?
I am.
And what part or what area?
I'm up in Wichita Falls, so kind of northwest.
Okay. So does that mean are you in Central time zone or the next one over?
Central. So it's
oh good.
Yeah, it's 8:14 here. Yeah. Now Aaron, he's a couple hours behind us.
Yeah, boy.
Where are you at, Aaron? I didn't know.
I'm in Idaho.
Oh, nice. I did not know that.
Yeah. I'm up here in the mountains.
Mountain time, yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
No, Pacific time, but in the mountains.
Oh, I see. Yeah, gotcha. I write with somebody who's in mountain time. I do some co-writing with for songs.
Well, cool. Hey, let's introduce you first. Now that we're back from our break, and hey, Michael, you're never going to know what I'm going to use before what we just talked about there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, hopefully you don't mind that. But we're back, and our guest has joined us, Michael Lacey. He's a 6-time best-selling author, musician, singer-songwriter. What else here? He's coming out with a new book.
Yeah. Got a new book coming out.
Awesome. Well, Michael, welcome. And good friend of ours. We went to high school together, and I've been waiting to ask you this, and I've wanted to ask you this on the air. If you remember, some would argue, or I would argue, that you invented the Can-Am Spider first.
Oh, yeah. You remember that. Yeah.
This guy, let me tell you this, Marshall, listen here. This guy in physics class in high school invented the spider before it even ever came out. I always wondered if you came up with it.
Man, I did. Yeah, I wish I could take credit for it. But yeah, it's basically a backwards trike. So instead of 2 wheels on the back and 1 on the front, it's reversed: 1 wheel on the back, 2 on the front. But the difference is mine was going to have the front wheels. I designed it where they would lean as you turned.
Oh, yeah.
You get better, handling instead of like a trike just flips over most of the time if you push it too hard. So yeah, it was that concept. And we never got around to building anything, but I called it the Eckert, which is trike spelled backwards, EKIRT. But I could do one. I literally just talked to my youngest brother, Alex, about this the other day, because we could call it the E-Kurt and make it an electric vehicle now. So that's possible.
Oh, yeah. Shoot. Yeah.
So that'd be awesome. That's awesome creative. That you remember that. That was
I have. I've wanted to see, and we haven't seen each other since, I don't know, high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my goodness. Long time. Marshall, we used to hang out, and like his dad was building their log cabin mansion.
Yeah.
all by himself.
Really, he really was. Yeah. I mean, he used my brother and I for grunt work, and Aaron might have even helped one time, carry a couple beams around. But yeah, my dad basically built that himself, and he's built 2 other houses since then.
Oh, wow.
It's
awesome. Mostly by himself. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Good.
It is.
Well, tell us, we've got a lot to catch up on, and that we don't have enough time tonight to talk about all that, but tell us what you've been up to lately. Especially, we're here to talk about your new book.
Yeah. Tell
us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you mentioned the 6-time best-selling author, and that's based on Amazon, Kindle sales and writing and producing books that a lot of people are involved in. But I do all of the grunt work on that. And I design the covers and everything. So our latest book is called Christian Marriage, and 2 of the 3 people on this podcast are authors on that book, and that's myself and Marshall. So the way Marshall got involved was the beauty of Facebook, right? And staying connected. But I had asked some advice, like, what's your greatest marriage advice? And he shared this really cool piece. And I thought, hey, Marshall, would you like to turn that into a devotional, expand on it? And he went to the most famous, passage on love in 1 Corinthians 13 and expanded on it. And it was great. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's definitely going to be in the book. And now he's one of the people who contributed to it. So that's really awesome. And that's Devo Writers Collaborations. That's what that's kind of branded as. So I've done 6 of those so far, and this is the 7th.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I like it. I got a chance to read through just a little bit of it. I mean, I have plans on reading more of it.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say myself.
How was it, Marshall?
Go ahead, Aaron.
No, it's different. We don't normally have 3 people on very often, so we're gonna walk over each other a little bit.
All good.
No, go ahead, Marshall. I wanted you to talk about what it was, what you covered, and what it was like to be asked to be featured in a book.
Well, I never thought that would ever happen. For one, that I would be featured in a book, or that anybody ever asked me to be featured in a book. So I was taken back. I was shocked. I was stunned, and the fact that it was somebody I know, went to school with and stuff, meant even more. And I was like, well, this is pretty cool that that Michael liked what I wrote, or and was even willing to ask me to be a part of it. So it was an honor, and it was a blessing to be a part of something like that. But like Michael was saying, I really just kind of touched on 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7, and just kind of dove into that and just gave my, really, I guess, what I think about that and how I feel about that and how that affects marriages. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just overall a really cool experience. I just really enjoyed being a part of it. And, I look forward to seeing what happens with that book and where God takes that and continues to take Michael and what he's doing with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long have you guys each been married?
Go ahead, Marshall.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Marshall.
He told you.
My wife and I've been married for 5 years. Been together for 8 years. We've been married for 5, and this March it'll be 6 years. So
awesome.
And we're going on 13. We're at 13 years.
Yeah, that's 12 for me. It'll be 13 in December. So we just crossed over 12 years. So pretty similar. And we have 3 kids. They're awesome. 6-year-old Nathan, 3-year-old Mac, 2 boys there, and then a little girl named Ellie. She just turned 1. So that's awesome. It's really hard.
That's awesome. Yep. I'm getting some. Marshall, you're feeding back. That's you.
Yeah, I see it's spiking on Marshall's there.
Yeah. Yeah, something. It must have been your microphone or something.
He's lost you might have lost signal. Can you say something? Yeah, check your cables.
You did.
I think your cables are fighting.
And we're back. Today has just been a day of technology mishaps.
It happens.
And so, all right. So, yeah, we've been married. I've got 5 kids, Michael.
5 kids. Wow. Why did you stop?
If it was, we could keep going, but I don't make enough money to keep going.
Man.
They're expensive.
Yeah, 3 has kicked our butts, man. I mean, 1 was hard, 2 was impossible, and 3 was like that Jim Gaffigan joke where it's like, what's it like having another kid? Well, imagine you're drowning and then someone hands you a baby. So,
yeah.
So I can't imagine 5.
Yeah. No, and everybody on here has heard us talk. I've got 4 boys, 1 girl, and the girl's the youngest.
Nice. Yeah, that's the same with us, but I mean, with only 3.
Yeah.
Girls are different, man. She's only 1, and so I don't know a whole lot, but it's already very different.
Ours has hurt herself more than the boys ever did.
Yeah, I can see that.
So get ready. They're firecrackers.
Yeah, she seems a little extra dramatic. So I don't know if that's just maybe it's just being the youngest and she gets all this extra attention. So if something goes wrong, it's the end of the world. But I don't know.
All right. So now that we took a little break because of technology, Michael, let's get back onto this book thing. What prompted you to do this? I mean, I like that you did it because there can't be too many in today's society where you see marriages failing or marriages struggling everywhere you turn. So I commend you for even doing it, regardless of what you may think that it may not be important. It may not. Maybe you're just just another person beating that drum, but I think
Mm,
it is needed.
yeah,
So, what inspired this devotional?
for sure. So we've done several. This is our sixth book together, but the seventh in the series. So what I did was I just came up with some topics, or asked our writers to come up with some, or our followers, and then we kind of voted on them. But then I
Mm-hmm.
also made kind of executive decisions on which ones. And I really avoided the marriage one for a little while, so it wasn't right away I jumped on it, because we've had a tough marriage.
Oh yeah.
We're, you know, I don't know if that's just true for everybody. It feels like it's
Mm-hmm.
not, but I want people to know it's true for more people than you think. It's, uh,
Yep.
I even wrote in there in the introduction, if you read that, it's like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel qualified to talk about this, but what does qualify me is that we're both Christ focused, and
Mm-hmm.
we're centered on him. So our marriage is focused on him, and we're still married after 12 years and 3 kids, and we've never been unfaithful. We've never had any like huge thing that a lot of people have dealt with, and even if that's happened, God can restore and redeem through those things anyways. But I none of that, we're not qualified by a lot of that stuff, but we're qualified by being real and honest, uh, and called by God to share our story. And then whatever happens with that, that's in God's
Mm-hmm.
hands to do whatever He wants with it. So that's one of the, we did kind of I avoided the marriage one for a while, and even in the I wrote a few more devotionals last second because the book is releasing any day now. And one thing I wrote was that we're in counseling. We've gone to professional counseling. We're counseling with leaders in our church. We're learning more about ourselves, about each other, about communication and relationship. And this is 12 years in. It's not like we
Mm-hmm.
figured it out somewhere along the way. We we're still working hard, and I think that's part of what allows us to share these stories. Um, yeah, so you'll read that in the introduction that sometimes it seems like people have it together. Uh, that's not always the case. It's hardly ever the
But
case.
yeah.
But yeah,
Mhm.
so we all voted on that marriage topic, ran with it, and I sought out a few people who are more specialized in that, and that's the beauty of a collaboration, is that I can bring in people who have a lot more experience than me, and I'm really just producing these, and I'll share some of my wisdom that God's given me. But there's even disclaimers that say always take anything you read and hold it up against the Word of God, and if you are convicted that that is not something that is true, then don't follow it.
Yeah.
That's between you and God and the Holy Spirit to work out, and work out your faith that way. So yeah, that's part of where it came from.
I like it.
I love it.
Um,
I love
you said that. Go ahead.
I love
I was giving
your
you a chance, Marshall.
your no, I know. It's just this lag, that Texas and Idaho's lag. No, Michael, I love your honesty, and I love how open you are about your personal life and your marriage. Um, I can relate on in a lot of different ways. I've been through some stuff and going through stuff, so I completely understand that. But I respect it and I commend it. So seeing what you've been through, or going through, and how you're still pursuing, I guess, what it is God wants you to do with writing this book, I think is amazing. Because, like you said, I think a lot of people would shy away from doing it because they don't feel qualified.
Man, if that was the case, who would do anything? Uh,
Exactly.
I've learned
Yep.
I've learned that the most important thing is to seek out people who are a few steps ahead of you in one way or another. You don't have to go to the biggest guru of whatever you're searching, because
Mm-hmm.
at that point, at that level, when they're that high up, their advice is not necessarily going to apply to a lot of people who are a lot further behind. So just find somebody a few steps ahead of you and learn as they learn, but follow what is working for them. Um, because they're a lot closer to the trenches than, the generals who are at the top who haven't seen a trench in years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a valuable thing. Now, the people at the top have a lot of wisdom to offer, but a lot of times they're serving a different audience, which is fine. That's just kind of how it all works. So, yeah.
I like what you said, Michael, about not feeling qualified, because we are not, even just doing this podcast or doing any ministry for that matter. The disciples didn't feel qualified to
Mhm.
spread the gospel message, but they did. If none of us
Yeah.
ever took that opportunity to what to do what God has called us to do, then it would never get done. And the
Yeah.
same holds true for marriage. None of us are perfect. None of us will um, ever have all of the answers. So we're qualified in our own right. But I think what
Mhm.
you're saying is that Christ-centered relationship, um,
Mhm.
and a mutual Christ-centered relationship. Both of you have to be Christ-centered and
Yeah.
recognize the fact that your love for God needs to come even before your love for each other.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. And there are some great devotionals in there from people who are married to non-believers as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a really cool perspective, because a lot of people will read the title of this book is Christian Marriage, uh, and in perspectives or devotionals from both perspectives. And that means just from the men and the women, each spouse. But there are people who are in what you might call unequally yoked marriages, and they talk about that. Some regret that, but some are already in that covenant relationship, so they're choosing to honor God in something that He ordained, and it's really inspiring to see that.
I think at times God uses those situations as well to bless both of them. He can use any situation. We all know that,
Yeah.
but we've seen it. We've seen it work time and time again. Even like what you were saying, unequally yoked marriages. Um, God uses that too. He
Yeah.
uses our flaws.
Yeah, for sure.
You're what you write nonfiction too, don't you?
Well, this is nonfiction. I write
I
fiction as
mean,
well.
yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
It,
so hold on. I got to think of this. Yeah, not
nonfiction means
real.
real life.
There you
Fiction.
go. However,
Fiction.
you write on both ends of the spectrum.
Hey, it took me a while to lock that in too. So you're not alone in that. I do. So you may not have video for everybody who's listening, but I've got. I just brought some books because it's always fun to see. But these
Oh heck yeah!
are all of the devotionals. I've got five, well, six books here because one's a journal. So it's great to hold books in your hands. Like I produced these. I made these. I did the covers, the formatting, and everything.
I like that
And then
first
here's
one.
one of my, yeah, the worship in the wilderness. That's
Yeah.
very cool. Uh, that's my favorite one of those. But then I have a book here called Perpetual, and it's not very thick, but I've written a few other fiction books that are a lot thicker. Um, but I don't have print copies. I've only done digital on those. But this one is a really cool book. It's a hard sci-fi future tech novelette, which just is a lot of
Oh.
words, but it just novelette means short. Hard sci-fi means it is realistic or it's
Hmm.
possible. It may not be happening, but it's something that seems feasible. Um, but it's a really cool book about uh, energy collection in the sense of, it's kind of dystopian in the future. We've used up all our power sources. So what we have done is put these like collectors on our arms and legs that kind of look like elbow braces and knee braces.
Yeah.
And as you move, it creates electricity that stores in a more or less a battery, but it's a cap or capacitor um, that you wear as like a backpack. So you're all day you're moving and you're creating power that you then sell to the energy banks, and then you
So
use
smart.
you survive that way. So it's a really cool concept, and the book came together really nicely, and I'm working on a sequel to it because people just really like it.
Hmm.
And it's
Did you
called
did you
Perpetual,
go?
as in like perpetual motion.
Huh. I like that. Did you go end up going to college for engineering?
I did, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Uh, I went to college for engineering, and I changed my major multiple times. I was there for a little while, and um, man, I wish I could go back and talk to, you know, the guy you guys knew, and be like, hey, the internet's not really a big thing right now, so don't trust what you find, like so. And it's
Hmm.
nothing bad, but I I took an assessment, and I was so shy. If you guys remember, I was so shy then. I was so quiet. Unless you got me outside of school at home, I was goofy and fun, but
Yeah.
um, I was really shy, and I took these tests, and they're like, oh, you need to like, you're good at math, you need to be an engineer. um, and I was like, that sounds good. And I loved designing things like that.
Hmm.
Back with the trike, I designed like I drew a Camaro that, you know how they redesigned the Mustang to look older back in the early 2000s. Well, I was like,
Yeah.
Camaro's going to do it. They're going to do it too. So I'm going to get ahead of it. So I designed one. And then the beauty is I got to see it about 10 years later. And I was like, man, mine was pretty close. But I kind of thought that was engineering, mechanical engineering, and it's not at
Hmm.
all. It's completely different. It's design. It's called industrial design. So yeah, I didn't, chase a calling there because I didn't have the right information. So I just went into engineering. But I learned I didn't want to, be so antisocial, and I started coming out of my shell, and I just grew deeper with God in my college years, which is the opposite of a
Hmm.
lot of people, Uh,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, it was the opposite for me, and God protected me. And I mean, if I was in different rooms at different times, I would have probably done some really stupid stuff. But He protected me, and He kept me out of those places and out of things. Uh, and then He gave me a passion for playing guitar, for music and singing and writing songs. And when I was about 20, and
Hmm.
I was like, God, if you gave me this passion, then it's meant to be given back to you. It's meant to be used for you. And since then, I've been, pursuing leading people in worship. And that's now my full time job at a church, is being a
Nice.
worship leader and helping develop other people as worship leaders. And I write songs with people all over the country like this. We get on Zoom or something like that, and we write songs. And I'm going to be releasing a few this year that I'm really
Good.
excited about. So I write all kinds of stuff. I write nonfiction books, I write fiction books, I write songs. I just, God's given me the passion and the ability to create, and I don't want to waste it. So that's a little bit of what I do. That's a lot of bit of what I do.
I like it. Do you have anything,
Man,
Marshall?
Michael, yeah. I'm so intrigued just sitting here listening to your story, like a little snippet of your life story. Uh, you've got my full attention. I mean, just listening to you. If you started to write a book about your life and where you were, where you've been, and where you are currently, I think you got something
Yeah.
there. I mean, what I mean, it's just, to me, it's intriguing. It's awesome, and then just seeing what God's done through your life just by what you've told us so far. I don't know, man. I love it.
I want to write a book. You guys helped me come up with a title, an autobiography, because you guys know something that the listeners don't know yet. Uh, I have one eye. Um, I mean, we all have one eye. Some of us have two. I only have
Right.
one. This left eye is a prosthetic eye. They call it a glass eye. So if you're watching the video, I'm sorry. I just touched my eye, and it grosses people out. It's my favorite trick whenever I tell people about it. Um, and when I was 11, do you guys mind me sharing the story?
Go
Go
for
for
it.
it.
Okay. Because I think, singular focus, maybe I'm thinking of a funny title for a book or something, but I'd love to write something. But I do say that, God allowed my eye to be taken so that I would have a singular focus from
Hmm.
then on. And he really used that at age 11 to change the trajectory of my life. So when I was 11, it happened at a church of all places. But we went outside to play. Some older kids had left lawn darts. There's the punchline for you guys. Lawn darts in the yard. Us younger kids saw these things and we're like, this is cool. And if you don't know what a lawn dart is, it's probably 8 inches long, solid metal rod with big fins. It looks like a javelin, but it's like a mini javelin. And we just started throwing them around and chasing them. And I wanted to throw one, so I kept running towards it. I couldn't get there fast enough. So I was like, all right, I can't catch one. Or I can't get to one. So I'll go back over to the church. And people were yelling and it's coming down behind me. I turned around and it got me in the eye before I could blink. And it was crazy. Being 11, I didn't know anything about it. So I grabbed it and I yanked it out, covered my face, fell to my knees. It was a whole thing. But the wild thing is, like, in the ambulance, I remember this peace that, like I learned later, surpasses understanding, right? They were saying, breathe in your mouth and out your nose or something like that. And I realized, they're trying to keep me awake. I don't know how I knew that, or maybe I knew it later. I was like, they're worried about me. They're worried something bad's going to happen. And so what I had was a peace it was that everything would be okay. Now, listen to me when I say everything would be okay. I didn't feel the peace that I'm going to live. I had the peace that everything was going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what. Beyond, and it wasn't even in my head, but beyond life or death, everything would be okay. So that peace that was a life-changing moment to know that, God has me in his hands. And then, in the hospital, Mom told me about a nurse that said, God has great plans for this young man. And I believe that's true for everyone, but being told that your whole life, it makes a difference. And so, tell your kids that, tell them all the time. But it changes things when God is working in your life. And so from then on, I've made my life as much as I can to be about him and pursuing him. And I fall and stumble all the time. But I always have that peace that surpasses understanding.
That is a heck of a story. Hey, I got a title. I got a title for you, Michael.
What you got?
It's a little long, but maybe you can work with it. I had to type it in on my phone real quick so I didn't forget it. It wasn't the speck in my brother's eye, but the plank in my own eye. Huh? Yes. What about that?
And I joke about all kinds of stuff. If your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. So I only got one chance left, So
I tell my kids, I think every one of my kids growing up has heard your story. It's like, hey, I got a buddy who lost an eye to a lawn dart.
Yeah. I'm a statistic. I didn't realize that till later, but I'm a statistic. Yeah. I mean, we all are in some ways, but I'm one of the kids that got injured by lawn darts. Now mine happened in 96, 97, 1997, obviously, but that it was a bigger deal in the 70s and 80s, but it got outlawed. So they had to dig hard to find these things. But I have a set of lawn darts, not the same ones. People are like, "Oh, the same one?" It's like, no, but yeah. There's a little stain right there. Actually, I could take a little red marker and color it in and mess with people. But I have a set that I keep hidden, of course, because I don't want to repeat. I mean, how ironic would that be?
Oh man,
no pun intended. Hey, I'm a dad now. I can make the dad jokes. I've always made them, but now I'm qualified.
Right. Okay. So what came first, Michael? What came first, music or writing? Yeah, exactly. What came first, chicken or the egg? Writing or music?
Writing came first because just of school, simply because I was a student and I didn't know that I had a talent for it or a gift for it. I was just a good student. I wanted to do well. I wanted to make teachers happy and my parents happy, and God gifted me with enough intellect to do well in school. Um, but I was actually good at math, which is odd. But I was good at English as well. You don't get usually don't get both of those, so it's been a blessing to have that width of experience. But yeah, I just didn't think there was anything in writing. I didn't know that there was a future for it for me. I didn't feel called to it, but I
Mm-hmm.
did get into music for a lot of other reasons. But I was about 20 when I did that, and then I started looking at the ages of people I see doing music, and there's kind of a shelf life. You don't see a lot of 50 and 60-year-old guys
Right.
leading worship or on the stage doing stuff unless they had a big career in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I thought, what's something that I will be able to keep doing later in life? And I thought, man, I did like writing. I felt like I was good at it. I was told I was good at it. Maybe if I spent 20 or 30 years doing that, I could get really good at it. And so I poured myself into it when I was about 30, and now I'm 37. So uh, good ways into it. But that's
Yeah.
part of the reason I pushed towards it.
So it's funny because last week we had another author on here. His name is Strawn Coleman,
Cool.
and he he was kind of reversed. And we talked about this a little bit, but of course it always intrigues me um, that he lost his voice and went from a musician to a writer, where now you're going
Mhm.
from a writer to a musician. How is that transition as a songwriter? Probably a little easier because you're already used to writing novels, and
Mhm.
does that
Yeah.
make writing music easier?
Well, mine's all mixed up, so it's not like I've transitioned out of one or another. I continue to do both, but obviously there's a time constraint, and I can't do both well in a consistent manner because I have a limited amount of time to put it towards it. But I've written songs since I learned to play the three chords, the main three chords that a guitarist
The
learns,
church
like,
chords.
yeah, G, D, and C, and D minor. And like, as soon as I got those down, I wrote a song, and it was bad. It was so bad. It was called Shift, and it was something like God shift me into gear. And you know me, I have the car thing, so I love cars and vehicles, so
Oh yeah.
motorcycles especially. So I tried to overlap them, and it was bad. But I I've gotten better. So at age 20, 17 years of songwriting, and then but at age 30, I started writing books after looking at having written great stories in high school and middle school. So it was kind
Hmm.
of just a combination of things. But now I'm really focused on the music while I'm not young, but I'm not not bedridden or anything. I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
lead worship consistently, uh, and God has blessed me with just keeping a healthy voice and those things. So yeah, I really think about it all as just story. It's just all story. And I have a company where I help people produce books called Story Builds. And I also do woodworking, which I call Story Builds Woodwork. And the
Oh,
idea is
nice.
that we're all building these stories, uh, and I'm just want to help. I want to help you build your story, or I want to help build the thing you build your story around, whether it's a book, whether it's a table, things like that. Uh, and songs are stories, and if it
Hmm.
doesn't feel like a story, it connects to a person who has a story. um, so it's all about story. That's how it all ties together. And then of course the English language is so wild and amazing. The
Yeah.
vocabulary that you can have, the words we can use, so fun. So I love words, so I'm just a wordsmith.
Do you have anybody producing your music right now?
I do. I'm working with two different producers that are working on a couple songs. and I'm planning to release maybe 6 songs this year, and then hopefully every month or two I can continue releasing. Of course, I've written probably over 500 songs, so I have a lot. I mean, I would never release that many, but there's a cost involved in producing songs and getting good quality out of them. But I'm excited about these next few. So, and actually, it may not be the right time, but I have my guitar if you want to hear one or two things. But
let's do it.
Yeah,
I want to hear it.
I'll get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll pick up on the mic, but I can tell you about them as I get the guitar ready. One song is called "Witness," and the concept there is that I'm a witness of God's goodness, and I've experienced His goodness and I've seen it. So that one's a little more upbeat, a little more kind of in this rootsy kind of worship feel that's been happening with, I would say, We the Kingdom, Zach Williams, stuff like that. And then there's a song called When You're in the Room. I'm going to grab something real quick, but I'll tell you about that one in just a second. But I'll probably run through a little bit of Witness first.
All right. Sounds good. Okay.
All right.
Okay, we're back. Let's do it.
Cool. All right, this is I'll do part of a song called Witness. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'm counting joy now, every trial, every struggle, testifying, every moment, every season. God is working, can't deny it. In the middle of the battle, He's the God of miracles. In the light or the shadow, one thing I know is sure, I am a witness of God's goodness. I've seen His wonder-working power, felt His grace through every hour. I am a witness of His promise. He will always see me through. He's the hope I hold on to. I am a witness.
Woo!
Oh man,
I love it.
That was good. Love it.
That's a verse and a chorus of that one.
I want that.
So I got
that
to
was
co-write that with a couple of strings. And it's a fun song, so I'm really excited about that one. I co-wrote it with a couple different people. One's maybe in the Nashville area, I don't remember, and another in Texas. It's just how it works, you know.
You need to at least get your stuff on Spotify so that, of course, I can listen to it as I drive around all day. Sure. And I could listen to that all day long. I do have an EP up there that released the same day that my first son released. That's a weird way to say it, but I thought it'd be fun. So, his birthday, July 20th, 2016. So that is a little bit older, but you can find that. It's Michael Lacey, Lacey. That EP is called The Diver in the Deep. So it's got really cool artwork. It's just a collection of songs that when I was playing out live a little more, those are the ones people liked. So that's a really cool one. But I'm leaning into writing more worship songs that would serve the church. So that's why I like that song, Witness. I think it would really serve the church. I think it would.
Yeah, I think it fits the vibe of what is happening too right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think there is like worship songs do not have to be, and this is where we kind of get fed up from time to time in different churches where they always just want to sing slow and no, we're not there to sing slow and mournfully. We're there to celebrate Jesus. We're there I want upbeat songs. I want happy songs, happy worship songs.
Yeah.
So I love it.
It's hard to find a good upbeat worship song that's not kind of cheesy, you know? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to
When
do
I
is
used
write more of those.
when I used to sing on our worship team, I've always enjoyed the slow songs that really catch you in your feels. But those upbeat songs, there's just
Oh yeah.
something about them that really connects you.
Yeah, I'm the hype guy. I'm the guy that jumps around. I'm like, you know, always moving, uh, getting everybody engaged, and like, and I haven't always been. I mean, you guys, like I said before, I grew up. I was so shy, like ridiculously shy, and losing my eye at 11 did not help. You know, it added another layer of insecurities. Uh, but as I grew closer to God and started leading worship, I mean, I was standing still, barely moving, and
Yeah.
I kept my eyes closed the whole time, you know. And I realized that was an escape. You're escaping when you close your eyes in that sense. And I was like, if I'm going to close my eyes, it needs to be in a moment that I'm reflecting or worshiping. I don't want to do it to escape. And a lot of people were like, "Hey, I wish you kind of moved around a little more." And then they never told me to stop, so I just kept doing it. And I I don't, and then I realized later I was like, I'm not moving because people told me to. Now I'm starting to move around and be expressive because I know what God has done in my life. Like that song just said, I'm a witness of God's goodness and His promise, and I've lived it. Why would I not celebrate when you're watching your favorite sport and your team scores? You go wild, you jump up, you scream, you yell, you're into it. Why are we reserving ourselves for something that is infinitely better than, you know, a touchdown? And we reserve ourselves for that, but we show off on other ways. And I just know that. And then the other side is that God has taught. He says so much in His Word about how He desires to be worshipped. And you guys have probably heard this. You might have said this. I've said it. Oh, that's just not how I feel comfortable worshiping. Have you ever heard that? I don't feel
Yeah.
comfortable
Yeah.
doing that in worship. Well, welcome to the club. You're not supposed to feel comfortable serving God and moving in obedience. You're supposed to honor God the way that He desires to be honored. And you find out by reading the word. And there are words for praise. There are seven Hebrew words for praise, and each one means something different. Raising hands, bowing down, playing with strings, shouting, all these different things. You're like, that's what He desires. That's what I'm going to bring. I want to worship the way He wants to be worshiped, not the way I feel comfortable, because that's so
Right.
limited. That's so small. So yeah, I'm very expressive, and I agree with you guys. The upbeat songs are they're fun because it gives you a chance to just lay it all out there.
I think it would behoove us as as adults to remember what it was like to be a teenager at, say, a youth rally. You remember that when you get up those upbeat songs and everybody's just jumping up and down, and
Yeah.
you know, some are standing there with raising their hands. And if you remember what a Christian youth rally was like, I think that it would be good for us to kind of remember that is praising God.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Yeah. It's
with no
unashamed.
strings attached. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I have one more song I'll share a part of with you guys. And this one, the story, uh, this is called When You're in the Room. And it ties to the story of Mary and Martha. And the concept of like, well, Mary's in there just sitting at the feet of Jesus, and I'm in here doing all this work. Why why are you not helping? Why are you just sitting there? And so many times we're like, yeah, I agree. Why are you not helping clean the house and prepare food? Like we identify with Martha a lot of time. And I was like, man, that's so flipped. I want to identify with Mary. I want to be so enamored with Jesus and so aware of him that when he's in the room, nothing else matters. When he is teaching and talking, I want to be at his feet, soaking up every precious word. So I wrote a song out of that concept of just, you know, I've listened to the wrong things. I've chased other things. I've done so much while Jesus is speaking. I don't want to miss that again. So I'll share a little bit of that for you guys. It is a lot slower. So I know
it's
we
okay.
just kind of
It's all right. Yeah.
flip gears there. But I spend my life looking at the wrong things. I gave my time thinking I had it right. But how many moments have I missed when you were speaking? Now I turn my eyes to the Son of God. Now I tune my ears to hear the hope of heaven. How my heart burns with every word that you're speaking. 'Cause I don't want to miss you when you're in the room. And I don't want to see anyone, anything but you. I want to sit at your feet, soak up your word, and be in your presence when you're in the room. When you're in the room.
Oh man.
Oh man, that was awesome.
That's beautiful.
That was.
thanks, guys.
Dude, your
Man,
tone,
what a treat. I've been
your tone and your voice is so spot on. I mean, a lot of people use computers to make their voices sound good, and it's out there. But your voice is just naturally good, and you don't see a whole lot of that. So, man, that was awesome. Yeah, I love it.
Oh man, I appreciate it. God has given me that voice, and He's made me. He's helped me love it. I mean, how many times do we want a different voice than one we have? And I tried so hard to be like, I want to sound like Shane and Shane, or I want to sound like Vince Gill, or some like
Right.
pure perfect voice, and I don't have that. I have naturally I sound more like Mac Powell, which is awesome, but that's or Pearl Jam. Some people have said, but that was a different time, and so I morphed, I guess. But I really spent time learning how to control my voice, lean into it, alter it, and this is where it is right now, and I'm happy with it. Like you said, I just want it to feel natural. I want it to be who I am, and stop trying to be someone else. I mean, that's a lesson for life, but it works for your voice. But that means a lot coming from another singer. I mean, that's cool. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's I'm a sucker for studio version, acoustic. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to do an acoustic version of each song too, just so that that's out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love writing, and God's given me the passion for it, and He's given me tools and ability, and I just want to honor Him the best I can with it. And I want to see people's lives changed because of God, and whether I'm part of that or not doesn't matter. I just want to see that happen.
Definitely. God bless you. God bless you with amazing talents. And, we are truly thankful for having you on our podcast and for being able to organize this with you and do this. We got to do this more often, for sure.
Hey, I'm down. I know it's hard to get a time set, and that's just how it is, but it was just great to catch up and get a little blast from the past, and you guys are you show so much honor. So I appreciate that a lot. And, you have a great humility, and just lightheartedness. So it's great to experience that.
Man, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. So before we go, Michael, I want to expose you with what maybe some would argue little following we have, but we need to expose everything you're doing to the world, because we are surprisingly worldwide on this podcast. Right. And so we need to expose you. Where can people follow, find you, find your new book, find your music?
Yeah.
Tell us where.
It's simple. It's michaellacey.me. And that's Michael LACEY.me. And you can go there, and it's got little blocks that show all the things that I do. So you can just scroll through and pick out something you want. You're like, oh, I liked his music, I'll check out the music. Or I'm curious about the Devo writers thing. Maybe you're a writer and you want to grow in that. You can check that out. I can help people produce their books. I can do all kinds of things that will serve the creative pursuits. And if you're a woodworker, I love connecting with other woodworkers. It's a great community. So yeah, all kinds of things. And number one, I love Jesus, and I know he's done so much for me. I want to honor him. And then second to that is my relationship with my wife, which is so tough to keep a priority when you've got kids and jobs and all this stuff. And then of course my kids, I love them to death. If I talk about them too much, I'll just cry. And, it's great. But yeah, those are the main things in my life. And just a little side note, if you, one thing I've seen a few times with guys, we get so driven that we want to be successful. We want to provide for our families. But sometimes you keep your nose to the grindstone so long that when you look up, your family's already grown, and you've missed some of the greatest times in their life. And you may have provided for them financially, but you've missed a lot of time with them. And I just want to encourage anybody who's listening that money will come and go, but these years don't come back. And if it costs you something to spend more time with them, it's always going to be worth it. And I don't have a lavish lifestyle. I don't make a lot of money. I do a lot of stuff. But I get a lot of time with my family, and I would never trade that for anything. So I just want to encourage any of you guys out there, just dads, and you're chasing after it, but put God first. Make your decisions based on what He leads you to do, and let Him work out the financial side. And I know that's a huge step of faith. Trust me, I've been taking those in little steps. I haven't taken a lot of big steps, but yeah, I just felt like sharing that for a second. But yeah, michaellacey.me, and you can find me there. And just, I'd love to connect. I'd love to collaborate. I co-write books. I co-write songs. I do all this stuff. So thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
absolutely. Love it.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
And we'll have to stay in touch, Michael. I'm a fellow woodworker and a blacksmith. So actually my forge name is actually SMA Forge, and it's kind of a coin to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And the fiery furnace. Yeah. So we'll definitely have to keep in touch.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, follow me on Instagram. It's at Michael Lacey Music on Instagram. So I've got a bunch of woodworking stuff on there too. Cool.
All right.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, shoot, boys, I think we better get going. It's getting late for you guys, and
so it's been great. Thanks, guys.
It's been awesome. We'll do this again sometime soon. Thank you again.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, just hang tight, Michael. Guys, thank you for listening to Undaunted Pursuit podcast. And again, go check them out. And of course, if you need to get a hold of us or want us to put you in touch with him, you can always email us at mail@undauntedpursuit.com. And I think that's
oh, sorry, I'm right in the middle of the close. I just messed it all up.
Oh, what a joker.
I waited till you messed up before I did.
Yeah.
All right.
I turned and did this big cough. All right, I'll be quiet
I
this
know.
time, I promise.
Oh, you're good. You're good. That's about it, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See you later.
Hey guys, and thank you for listening to Undaunted Pursuit Podcast. Give us a good rating on iTunes, good review, leave us 5 stars, and follow us on YouTube. Click that subscription bell. Keep up to date with the newest episodes.
And don't forget to follow us on other social media outlets such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to email us at undauntedpursuit@gmail.com and go to our website at undauntedpursuit.podbean.com.
And don't forget, if you like what you're hearing, go to Patreon, follow us on Patreon, subscribe to our channel there. There's a small tier for donations. Any help, any support, this podcast is made possible by you, the patron. We thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Come out of the darkness. Come out of the darkness. Come on out of the darkness. And you know it's never too late to come out of the darkness. Come on out of the darkness. Come on out of the darkness. And you know it's never too late. I'm here at 9 a.m. So come out of the darkness. Hold your life, don't let it go, 'cause even hope takes time to grow. There is something beautiful, and I know this life gets hard, but I hope you know, my friend, that it's never too late. That when you're feeling lost or low, I'm here at 9 a.m. So come out of the darkness. Come out of the darkness. Come on out of the darkness. And you know it's never too late to come out of the darkness. Come on out of the darkness. Come on out of the darkness. And you know it's never too late. I'm here at 9 a.m. So come out of the darkness. Oh, come on out of the darkness. I know you'll find where you belong. And until then we can sing this song. So come out of the darkness. Come on out of the darkness. I hope you know, my friend, it's never too late. That when you're feeling lost or low, I'm here at 988. So come out of the darkness.